like Erastus P. Puckett. There's names like Jim Thogmorton, Nathan Scarrett, T. Barry Smith. And to that list of illustrious names, there's another illustrious name that we need to add, Braxton Rethwisch. I think everyone knows Braxton as that tireless recruiter that could always find a way for students to attend Central Methodist. We all know Braxton Rethwisch as that guy that would provide life-changing opportunities for young people. Braxton made another amazing contribution to Central Methodist that may be less known, but I suggest is equally as important. Years ago, under the Joe Howe administration, this institution found itself in need of finding a way to produce additional revenue. A young Braxton Rethwisch came to President Howe and said, I have a little idea for a 2+2 degree completion program in partnership with the community colleges. Aren't we all glad that he did that? Today, Braxton's little idea is generating about 3/4 of our graduates, about 46% of our tuition revenue, and that footprint of that little idea now spans across 5 states. I received a beautiful email yesterday from a parent who was so thankful that Braxton simply refused to quit trying to work to get his daughter to come to Central Methodist. I won't mention names, but Central Methodist is so much better because that young lady has attended here. And that family is so thankful. And it was important to the father, Braxton, that I share that story with you. I received another email and a phone call yesterday from another very prominent Central Methodist graduate. Fred Braxton, wanted me to read verbatim this to you. From Fred Braxton deeply deserves this recognition of his unique and invaluable service to CMU over so many years. He has brought generations of students to the campus and probably touched even more lives than his fabled predecessor, E.E. Rich. We all owe him an enormous debt of gratitude, and I have been delighted to participate in arranging this recognition of his enormous contribution to the school. I must also recall our undergraduate days together, when Braxton had the only distinction of being my pledge son. He was a great credit to all of us at the school at that early stage of his association, and has been building his unparalleled legacy ever since. I hope that this weekend will be a fully rewarding celebration of all that he has done for his alma mater and his enduring friendship for all of us that have been fortunate enough to know him over these many decades. That's your friend, Fred Braxton.
Wow. Good at that. Giddy up.
All right, at this time, I want to unveil the Braxton Rethwisch Hall of Sponsors Scholarship photo. We will take turns looking at that later. Okay, one other thing I want to do before I invite the next speaker up, I have a certificate here that will honor the first ever recipient of the Braxton Rethwisch Hall of Sponsors Scholarship. Braxton, you will be happy to know that this young man is a member of Alpha Phi Gamma. He values the Mokers and his fraternity.
And we had over 100 in attendance, and we served 162 meals that evening, and on a Saturday evening in the ballroom over at the Isle of Capri. And it was a sensational celebration for those 70 years. Longevity has never been Braxton's goal here at Central. He's a native boy. He graduated from high school here. He spent 4 years on campus in leadership roles. And when Dr. Woodward offered him a position as his assistant in 1964 upon his graduation, I can assure you he was delighted. He wasn't thinking about a long career, but he was thinking about a career, and he loves this university. He also was grateful because his girlfriend was going to school here at the time and gave him another reason to hang around. Braxton loved all of the friends that he made on the high school level in the schools that he served for Central. He worked very closely with administrators, teachers, coaches, and others there as counselors in order to identify that special gem that was looking for a path to a college education. And once he found that individual, then he was able to go to work with the staff here and attract those individuals to Central. And he worked very hard on that. Those people ended up being his extended family. If you want to know something that occurred 50 years ago, challenged us. He explained to her he had a typewriter and he needed to go get it, and therefore he had the case. There's no problem. As we're walking up to the campus, we were talking, joshing, laughing. All of a sudden I realized we weren't on campus. We were in front of Max. and we were entering Max. That typewriter case was to carry all of our liquid refreshment and the pickled eggs that we put in. Now, as we left and we were coming back to Spring, I'm thinking to myself,
First of all, I have to say that I was a little concerned when Dave took the microphone and started this off, because my understanding was that Tad Perry was going to do that honor, and Tad and I have a mutual annihilation treaty. We have so many stories about each other's youth and growing up here in Fayette, and then not to mention being in college in the fraternity together for several years. So I thought I had the lid on Ted, but Dave, I don't know much about your... It's all good. What I know is all good. This really isn't about me. This is about your belief in this institution and what we do. I passionately believe that this place, I can look parents in the eye and say, yes, your daughter will be safe at CMU. Your son will have a great opportunity to expand whatever interests he has in his own skills in leadership and whatever. You know, we were a little bit conceited, I think, when we were in school. We used to say we loved being disliked by the other fraternities. And I was telling somebody the other day, I was bragging to some friends of mine, I said, you know, my old fraternity was kind of like we had the Fox News girls. Not only were they smart, they were good looking. And this was before spell check, and boy, we can hand them paper. Oh yeah, you know that spelling rule. So it was a wonderful time. And here's the way this works. You have to believe in what you do, and that is certainly the case with me. Some kind of a questionable guy came up to me at college day and wanted to know. He said, anyway, you didn't come here to hear me speak, as my wife is indicating. I trust that is my wife.
It was. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing day. It's an amazing honor for an amazing person. Thank you. I have to tell one little story on you if I can. I went to see Braxton about a week or so after his stroke, and he was telling me that one of his very first visitors had come to see him. And this is just a testament of how Braxton cannot possibly ever lose his wit. One of the very first guests that he had came, and they saw Braxton hooked up to hoses and cables and leads and everything there in the hospital. And his visitor asked him, "Braxton, why do they have you hooked up to all these things?" Braxton's immediate response was, "They consider me a flight risk." Just said, and they were right. So, thank you folks for coming today. I love these kinds of events, these kinds of celebrations. I don't know that I have ever seen one as deserved as this one. Braxton, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you folks for attending, and we have the All Alumni Social at the old jail. We'll see if that can hold Braxton.
Can you shoot one more second for me to stand next to my dad? Just keep it's rolling already.
Okay.
Your fingers blocking it.
You got anybody in here?
No, I got a grandmother's chair. Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah, they gotta take some pictures with me here. They got a highly priced camera guy here. Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you for your message.
How are you?
Right here, we'll get around here.
Right here, Dad.
Actually, this is Grant Sanford. He's the recipient of the scholarship.
I'm gonna grab that from you. I've got it. Okay. Power cable. No, you're good. Thank you, man. Wow. That's what an honor.
What you want on the outside, let's get here in the middle. Come in together. All right.
our son Carter was in the hospital for 5 days on life support. And we did everything we could. He came back to school, finished the semester. But his mom wanted him to, and I knew, I didn't agree, but she was trying to do the best. Let's bring him home, and we did. We went back to St. Louis U, graduated on time. But I'll never forget a conversation we had when I said, now Carter, here's the way you have to, you take this, you dig in, you give it everything you have, you can't let up. And he was a willing participant in all this. And I said, let me give you an example. And back in my earlier days, I was approached by some colleagues that asked me to run for vice president of our National Missions Association. Well, one of the other candidates was from a big university, and I didn't. My buddy said, come on, you can do it. And I guess that Milford mindset set in. And I said, okay, I'll do it. Well, I did it the Milford way. I did everything I possibly could, and I'm explaining to my son, you can't let up. You can't leave any stone unturned. You have to. And I had teams organized, and they call on the delegations from the different states, and we had handouts, and we did all sorts of things. And that's the way you have to approach this. And I remember he looked up at me and said, Dad, what would you have done if you'd have lost that election? And I said, until this moment, it never entered my mind. But I had that Milford inspiration to do it. It ended up being 3 of the best years of my life. Met people from all over the country, did great things for the admissions organizations, and so forth. And so, but the thing I want to leave you with is there is a mindset that goes with being a Milford. Very interested in music and grades. Why do you ask? She said, well, her brother's at Mizzou. She was always going to go to Mizzou. That's the only place we sent a transcript. And she walked in and says, I'm going to Central Methodist. And she said, we can't figure this out. And I don't know. And she was polite to talk with, and I think it worked out. She said, do you know anything about the representative? Well, she said, well, yeah, it's the same guy that's been coming down here for years. Is there a problem? Her mother said, well, there might be. She said, well, what's that? She said, I just want to make sure that my daughter didn't choose a school just because they sent out some good-looking young guy.